Hello everyone, it's Pastor Jacques. It's Tuesday, May the 19th. We haven't been together for 2 days, but we do want to stay together in terms of staying connected with one another, and I think these video posts are an important way to somehow stay connected like that. I'm coming to the end of this little series on spiritual maturity from the book of James. I've been thinking of maybe going into the first letter of John, 1 John, after this. I think it'll be good for us just to go through that epistle. So I'd encourage you to maybe start reading ahead in 1 John and learning some things through that epistle. Let me just conclude with this last evidence or point of spiritual maturity. I want to take a look at James chapter 5, verse 19 and 20. It says this: "My brothers, if one of you should wander from the truth and someone should bring him back, remember this. Whoever turns a sinner from the error of his way will save him from death and cover over a multitude of sins." I think the sign that James is speaking about here is being concerned about the spiritual welfare of other people. I think that's a real mark of spiritual maturity, when we love one another enough to be able to be willing to intervene in somebody else's life. Well, James is talking about someone here who's wandered away from the truth. Now, let me just say this before I go any further. It's the truth that God uses to sanctify us. It's the truth that God uses to keep us walking the straight and narrow path, right? Jesus said, "Sanctify them by the truth," John 17:17. Your word is truth. That's what God uses his word to sanctify us, to make us holy, to convict us of our sin, to show us the error of our ways. And James is talking about someone here who's turning away from the truth, who's wandering away from that close relationship with God, and he's starting to sin, or she's starting to sin. And when we love one another enough to be able, or to be willing to walk into that person's life and hold them to the accountability of God's word, that is a true mark of spiritual maturity. And the blessing is that if we're, by God's grace, able to be used to bring them back to the truth, we cover over a multitude of sins. The whole point here is this: do we love one another enough to speak God's truth into each other's lives? Do you love me enough to speak God's truth into my life? Do I love you enough to speak God's truth into your life? We all fall short of God's glory. We all struggle with sin, every single one of us. But we need to love one another to be enough to be patient with each other and to speak God's truth into each other's lives. So let me encourage you to look at your life, to look at other people's lives, and be that blessing that we so desperately need to build one another up in our most holy faith. The Lord bless you. I love you with all my heart. By God's grace, in our next many sessions, we'll be taking a look at 1 John. So let me encourage you again to read it. God be with you. Amen.